Welcome! Welcome to Hug Nation! Well, a few things I want to talk about today. I want to talk about last week. Now, during last week's Hug Nation, I was actually in a really good space. I was still kind of riding the high of the weekend because, the weekend went through Monday, I was on a trip, and birthday stuff, and then kind of as Hug Nation finished, and I was in the post-birthday lull. The post-birthday, the post-lightning in a bottle, the post-huge excitement, and late nights, and not much sleep, and lots of wee in the brain, and then afterwards I was... And it was tough. I was hurting. One thing that's wonderful about living for so very long is that I start to recognize these patterns, and I start to be more aware of when I'm going through a cycle, and more able to say that, okay, I know that I'm in a funk right now. I know that this is depression. It doesn't mean I can just snap and make it go away, but it does help me avoid the temptation to reevaluate my world. Because there were times last week when I was crafting my resignation letter for my awesome job. I was crafting my goodbye letter to my awesome Burning Man camp. I was tempted to reevaluate my place in the world from this dark place. But I remembered, even though the world feels dark and terrible and I feel like I'm the biggest loser, blah, 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 all the things that a depression does to my brain, I was able to have enough of a separation between my thoughts and myself to know that these thoughts will not last, this place will not last. I just gotta kind of ride it out. But there were a lot of tears last week, a lot of just feeling on the edge, and anytime I shared a story that was emotional in any way, or a lot of times when it wasn't even emotional, I was having lunch with my parents, and I was telling a story that was just kind of about camping, and I couldn't get through it. I kept choking up, and my dad, who is less of a crier than I am, was, kind of... I could see there was a part of him that was oh, buck up, little guy, as he's wiping my skinned knee, going, this isn't, you're going to be okay. So I'm going through this dark time. I'm feeling horrible. There was part of me that almost felt like, I know there are things that I could do that might make this better, but those seemed almost impossible. It more seemed like, look, it'll take all that you got just to breathe through this. Have the thoughts, acknowledge them, acknowledge that I'm feeling this way, and don't take action. Just breathe through them, okay? Breathe through them. The truth is I was not very productive last week. It was a survival week. I definitely fell into survival mode. Now, an interesting thing happened, though, at the end of the week. As I started to feel like the funk was going through me and I was pulling out of it, this amazing gift was revealed to me. It was like I was undoing the bows of my life. I was opening up this box. And as all of the amazingness that has accumulated over 40 years, it was like, being blindfolded and walked through, someone's kind of, bumping my knees and kind of what's going on, and then taking the blindfold off and being like, oh my gosh, have these things been here the whole time? These are the people in my life? These are the opportunities I have? These are the experiences and the memories, and oh my gosh, I am so blessed. And then I kept crying more, and I kept crying more, but it was the kind of crying that just feels so good, just emotional overwhelm, just feeling blessed, blessed, blessed. And so a couple things happened in this kind of fragile, emotional, newborn into my own life state, is how I felt. I felt I had been rebirthed out of the darkness into the light that had been there the whole time. It was so bright in comparison to the darkness. It just felt like such a gift. And so from that place, last weekend we had First Saturdays, so ended up meeting up with an incredible 45 people that all came down to help the homeless. Had a really powerful and emotional experience with that. We had for the second time, a girls' soccer team showed up, so we had about 10 girls, and I don't know the age, but young and adorable, and just like seeing them with, these big boxes handing out sandwiches to people on the street, it's just, the visual of that is just so. And then there was somebody who joined us this week who was there as part of a grieving process and a transition. Their husband had passed on in the last few months, and so they joined us with all of her husband's extra clothes. And so as these kids are walking around with sandwiches, there was a woman who was gifting suits, shirts to people that could certainly use it. And this energetic transfer, this connection, where I was struck with, wow, how it's a good thing we don't technically call ourselves Help the Homeless. It's a good thing that it's called First Saturdays, because what a misnomer, thinking that we are helping the homeless. This experience that we were having, this opportunity to connect with people so different, with such different needs and such different desires, and having an opportunity to just connect on a heart vibration for a few minutes at a time. The helpers are the ones who are getting the priceless gifts from the experience. So that was amazing. And then as the day went on, realizing that this group of people, both all of the volunteers as well as the people that we're connecting with, like, I didn't make that happen, but my path of surrendering, of volunteering my life and energy and services to a higher vibration, to source, to like getting selfish enough that I feel the joy of giving and then move in that direction, in many ways is what made this experience grow and continue. Not just me, many people. But just feeling like the path that I've walked is partially responsible for this cathartic, emotional, growing experience. It was very powerful, and it was very rewarding to come out of this dark place of doubt, this dark place of frustration and feeling like, I don't know, there's so much is missing that in that artificial darkness funk that I was in, to go into this place of like, oh my, not only is my life rich, but the things that mean more to me than anything, the having the weight of my life matter in the direction of values that I believe in, like, it's happening. It is. I am living the life that I wanted to live of myself. Actually, I'm living a life that is beyond the goals that I had for myself when I was a child. And as the fog faded and the reality was just presented to me from loving arms and hugs and twinkles in eyes and tears, it's just like feeling so blessed. So blessed. And then the next day, I had my second birthday party and had a brunch here, and my parents came and got to introduce my parents to a bunch of people at Pink Heart. And also, this week was challenging for me in a number of ways. One reason is because I had to kind of step up and be a love warrior in some ways and kind of do what I felt I had to do to maintain the integrity of the Pink Heart camp, and part of doing that meant running the risk of hurting some feelings. And it was hard for me. But it also felt like as hard as it felt like the steps that I was taking was exactly the kind of person that I aspire to be. So even if they hurt as they take, this is the right path for me to be on. And I have to have faith that if I show up and I have integrity and I align with love, that's all I need to worry about. And then the idea that I need to be universally liked by everyone, I can let go of that. There's a voice inside me that goes, you must be liked by everyone! And I have to go through this battle in my thoughts where my deeper self says, no, your job, the reason you're here is not to be liked by everyone. The reason you're here is to live in integrity, align yourself with love, show up, speak your truth, and then allow things to be as they are. And if that means consequences, well then that's your job too, is to deal with those consequences. And if that means accolades, that means, hey, have some mimosas and celebrate. So it was the week, I mean, these massive fluctuations. It's kind of like, you turn the lights off for a couple hours and then go outside and the stars are going to be brighter. And it feels like that's what this last week was for me. Not just about the things in my life, but feeling like the direction, feeling like the opportunities. And as I was approaching today's Hug Nation and having this moment to connect, whether this is live or on archive, having this ability to surrender, be of service, share what tiny bits of positivity and lessons that are helping me, and if those are impacting or resonating with anyone else, then what an honor. If not, what an honor that you at least have patience with me. And so I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude at the swaying palm out my window, at the soft cheek of my beloved, of the prideful eyes of my parents, of the support and genius and hearts of my friends, and of the hard to encapsulate with words or conscious thoughts the feeling of connection that I'm blessed with towards everyone who is on this path towards self-discovery, towards reconnecting with Source and love, towards surrendering to this vibration of divine oneness and connection. And what a gift to be able to actually sit down in that vibration every week and allowing it to strengthen in me, hopefully strengthen in you, and in the process of doing both of that, create this standing wave of something that is way bigger and more wonderful and amazing than anything that we can think and make happen, anything that we can force to do, something that we just surrender to and then allow to strengthen us, allow to direct us. What a place of gratitude that has been. Thank you. As each of us surrender to that inner voice, we each fall into the roles that make our purpose clearer, that make our gift so much brighter to ourselves and to the world. Thank you for being the best birthday gift I could ever imagine, just by waking up. Let's have a Hug Nation hug. Let's do it. Wherever you are, grab yourself by the shoulders. It doesn't matter where your feet are at. It matters where your heart is at. If you're watching this on archive, or if you're watching this live, or if you're just in your car somewhere where it wouldn't be so smart to watch this, but you know that at this time every Tuesday we align with this vibration. Welcome and thank you. Feel that body, this amazing tool, this receptor. Give a moment of gratitude for all the delights that it gives us. And as we feel this body, know that as unique as you think you may be, this body is pretty much identical to all the other bodies on the world. There are some differences. There's some color changes. There's some proportion differences. There's some scars here. There may be some added mobility in other places. But really, a shell is a shell is a shell is a shell. Which is crazy because what we start to identify with is what's beneath that. Our personalities, this accumulation of experiences, and more than experiences, teachings, exposure to media, values that sink in and slip in and tend to create an identity that is outside of our truth, but it is an identity, it is an outfit, it is another shell that we put on. Now these shells are vastly different from one person to the next. And it is those differences in shell, those personality differences that we tend to focus on and get bogged down in the conflict between these personalities, and within those personalities, those desires and to-do lists. But beneath those desires and personalities is that part of ourselves that is once again identical to everyone else. That loving source in us, that creative fire, that rumbling desire to be connected, to express, to dance, to sing, to hug, to love. So for just a moment, let's just shake off the personality shell. Be grateful for the physical body shell and just sink into the bright, beaming, universal light that is in every single person on this planet. And as we let it resonate in us, feel it resonating in all the people around you, all the people you've seen this week, all the people you've seen on TV, in the office, on the road, their physical shells, their personality shells dissolving until they're just bright beams of light rocketing from the earth out into the cosmos. We are sunbeams from Source, illuminating the cosmos with love. One more deep breath. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all the Love Warriors, happy Hug Nation. Thank you for being you, for following your path, for listening for the truth inside of you, for that love vibration and amplifying it, and being an ambassador to the world. Everything you say, do, and every movement is your sermon. It is your message, and we are grateful for it. Happy Hug Nation. Namaste.
You only live once. Enjoy the color.